Number 12, Maddie Williams. Number 13, Jenna Chatterton. Number 14, Lizzie Sexton. Number 19, Maisie Winsett. Number 21, Sam Dewey. Number 22, Greta Grisula. Number 23, Trinity Watson. And the captain, number 16, Ella Rogers. The head coach of Indy 11 is Paul Dolinsky. He's assisted by assistant coaches Brandon Kim and Grace Barr. The goalkeeper coach is Kelly Freeland, and the head athletic trainer is Sierra Gardner.
On this Father's Day, a little work to do for the Indy 11 women as they play host to Kings Hammer. And for the first time in the brief 2-year history of the Indy 11 women, they are trying to bounce back from a defeat. They lost one time last year. It was the season-ending match, the USL W League quarterfinals against Minnesota Aurora. This time it was a stunning loss to then last place St. Charles. Now with St. Charles's win, the team that's in last in the division is Kings Hammer, a team that Indy had to go late to beat in May, 1-0 in a game that was played at Xavier University. Today's game on the ISC Sports Network and 11 Sports, presented in part by Community Health and Sports Medicine, exceptional care simply delivered, and by Alpha Health and Wellness, the official team chiropractor for the Indy 11 W League. Greg Rakestraw, Angela Barry White with you. Thank you so much for joining us and spending part of your Sunday afternoon with us. Your first chance to broadcast the Indy 11 women didn't go so well. You were great on the broadcast. Didn't go so well for the team on Thursday night. What are your observations to what you saw 72 hours ago?
Well, Greg, first off, I want to say happy Father's Day to you.
Thank
and
you.
The rest of the fathers out there. Love you dearly. Let's see. Let's get back to the game action now. Let's bounce back. What did I see from, the first loss of the season, which I didn't want to be a part of, didn't want to witness it, but those things happen. You have a team that's in the last place in the table, and they came out firing, and that's what they wanted to do. So how did they bounce back? Let's look at these keys to the games today, perhaps. And how about a nice quick response from our Indy 11 in blue here, our ladies, because what they need to do, they need to get back on track in the win column. So let's see a response from them. Next off, let's limit the counters, because that's what happened in that game that they lost. There were 2 quick counters. We lost possession, so let's try to maintain the pace of the game and control the possession, and that way we limit counters. And last but not least, clean sheet. As a defender myself, you have a clean sheet as a defense, as a goalkeeper, that's only going to lead to good things, which is going to be either a win, hopefully, for tonight, or a tie, so you have to come out of here with some points today. So let's have a clean sheet. Our
keys to the game brought to us by your Central Indiana Honda dealers. Central Indiana is proud to be Honda's home turf as well. A quick glance at the standings in the Valley Division. The Indy 11 are tied for first with Racing Louisville. The good news for Indy, they hold the tiebreaker. Even though goal differential is in favor of Racing Louisville, the first tiebreaker is head-to-head. Indy, a win and a draw, took 4 points of 6. In other words, if Indy wins out their last 3 games, they are a playoff team for a second consecutive year. With that, we'll take this quick timeout. We'll come back with starting lineups and opening kickoff from the Indoor Event Center here at Grand Park. It's Indy 11 Women's Soccer on the ISC Sports Network and 11 Sports.
For over a century, Indiana has been the destination for sports innovation and the state where champions are crowned. Now, We're entering a new era with Sports Tech HQ, a place that inspires innovation and invests in entrepreneurs who are changing the game, one startup at a time. Welcome to the crossroads of sports and technology. Sports Tech HQ, home of the game changers.
It's very true that it takes a village to raise a child. And when it comes to my healthcare village at Community Health Network, it's all nestled right in my phone. Accessing healthcare is the ability to be connected with your provider and ask a question when you need it. I feel like when I'm meeting with a community nurse practitioner or doctor, they're tuned in to what is going on with me and the way that they can serve me best.
Stand by me. And the winner of the Indianapolis 500.
Indiana, winning is in our DNA. And we're winning the future with $22 billion in new business investment, building an economy of the future with unprecedented momentum. Indiana, for the winners.
Real quick, if you are sending video to a college coach, would you want it to look like this? Did he save it? Who knows? Come on. Do you want your potential coach to see that video or this one? Of course, the answer is simple. Give us a call or check out our website, recruitproductions.com, for more information.
Let's get you a quick glance at those starting lineups. First for the Indy 11. We'll show you the graphic, but I'll point to the player that is wearing number 12, Maddie Williams. You see two 12s on the graphic? Well, Ella Rogers has been wearing that 12. Maddie's back in the lineup. She gets her number back. She nearly had that many goals last year playing for the Indy 11. Former Purdue Boilermaker, former pro. In fact, atop with Maisie Whitsitt, you've got pros on each side, at least former pros, in terms of Sam Dewey as well as Maddie Williams. And Nana Reason gets the start in goal. Also, I noticed Hal Hirschfeld. She was in the starting lineup. She is seated on the bench. She was a late scratch for today's game. Greta Krasula will take her spot in the midfield. Flip side now, let's tell you the starting lineup for Kings Hammer. Michaela Kowalski from Northern Kentucky University will get the start in goal. Camber Hayes will tell her story from Miami of Ohio. Again, these are almost exclusively players that are from the Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky area. Kings Hammer, a wonderful developmental system. They go kind of all the way. This is the top of the pyramid for the women. They have a men's team in League Two, but almost exclusively, these are young ladies from the Cincinnati area.
Quite a few of these ladies are college teammates. Right off the bat, there's three with Rhodes, Lake, and Meddings. They all play for Thomas More University. So, in terms of attacking, I think that they'll be able to, blend well with each other. And we'll see how they do in their 3-5 system going up against our 4-3-3.
Our starting lineup presented by Central Indiana Honda Dealers, as Central Indiana proud to be Honda's home turf as well. This is a rematch of the first game in league history that took place on Friday, May 6th of last year. Indy won that one, drew with Kings Hammer 0-0 on the road last year. Again, already, Indy a 1-0 victory against Kings Hammer back on May 24th. So to finish things off, Ella Rogers is wearing number 16 today. So again, she defers to the veteran Maddie Williams. And Maddie, also an assistant coach for the team this year. She knew that she would not be able to kind of dedicate the time she did last summer to playing. So she kind of plays when she can. She played about 30 minutes against Lexington here a couple of weeks ago. Simply put, she will make this team better because she is on the field today.
Yes, she will. She comes with high accolades, and she is listed as an assistant coach. So it's always great to have that extra player up top.
Wetzer Williams flattens out the run. Defender is able to beat her back to get there. That was Natalie Bain, and Bain started all 23 matches for Xavier a season ago. So Xavier is well represented with players on both sides. Two of the three defenders in this back three alignment for Kings Hammer are Xavier Musketeers, as is the aforementioned Ella Rogers, back in her second year of playing with the Indy 11. Chester plays it back. Rogers gets a touch, could not control it, and then swept to the side by Kings Hammer. This is Lizzie Sexton. She went the first 45 in the loss to St. Charles on Thursday. as he plays at the University of Louisville. It's her old teammate in Maisie Whitsitt. Maisie has used up that eligibility at the University of Louisville. Looking
nice
back post,
service.
Maddie Williams. Did she get it to cross the end line? The answer is no. AR is by the corner flag, was looking at that one, off the crossbar, straight down. No goal for the Indy 11, but again, Maddie Williams on the field. Good things happen within 2 minutes.
Exactly. She saw the quick touch there, and she got it off first time. And look who was sitting in the back there was just a nice back post and unlucky on the crossbar, making the save for the keeper.
Again, Maddie played a couple of years professionally, spent time both in Spain as well as the Netherlands. She had 13 goals in the Spanish division a few years ago. Again, you can play in this league if you're not a current pro. If you're a past pro, you can play. Maddie these days is a full-time engineer. This is a great way to kind of scratch the competitive itch. And, in kind of Sam Dewey's case, here's Williams again, but just couldn't time the run properly. Flag goes up on the far sideline, but look how much more dangerous this team is with her on the field.
Exactly. She's quick thinking, and she's making those runs like we saw with the header in the box. And then here she was just a step just too quick in terms of getting offside, but I do see some things happening, and she'll get one soon.
Now, the other player we referenced kind of that's of that ilk is Sam Dewey. Sam is trying to decide, do I go back to playing professional soccer, or am I enjoying this athlete development job I have at Sogility, and is this going to be kind of the level that she's going to play at? So when we say Indy's got a couple of pros on the field, they have played professionally in the past, not current pros. Just want to make sure we specified that.
Right, and Sam was with Real Betis in the Spanish Women's League, and so we'll see. You know what? It's one thing that you don't want to turn down an opportunity to play, and they're obviously still enjoying this moment.
And if you're Paul Dolinsky, you almost kind of say, ladies, when can you play? We will work around your schedule, knowing you make us a better team. Sam had 2 goals in the opening victory against St. Charles, the 8-0 lopsided win back on May 10th, which again makes Thursday's decision going the other direction. The 0-2 loss, even more difficult for Indy. This is Jenna Chatterton, who is celebrating her 20th birthday today. Happy birthday, Jenna.
Yes, big happy birthday, definitely. Hopefully part of the birthday is going to be get a W here for the ladies in blue.
Let's face it, they're used to having birthday parties at Grand Park. This is a little bit different variety. Krogan gets the blast away. Couldn't get it through Grace Barr. Rose Vigran now tracks it down at the edge of the 18. She is one of these Kings Hammer players back from last year. Good job by Nana Reason. Get her hands on that one. And she and Edwards have split time between the posts. Nana gets the start today. For 1 year, a Noblesville Miller. Last year, a backup at the University of North Carolina.
Exactly that. And looking there at Grace Barr, she stepped in, and she was a nice, good covered defender. And then on that cross, no one's going to get past Nona Reason. There is a reason for that. So she does dominate, that area, and that's why she's a good goalkeeper, and she's at UNC.
Now, see, you're in your second match, and already you're using the broadcaster puns, playing off her last name.
Exactly.
Well done by you.
Learning from the best.
Who, your husband, Eddie?
No, that'd be you, Greg.
Happy Father's Day to Eddie, by the way, who I'm sure is not watching the broadcast, but maybe can be convinced to watch it at a later time. Williams onside, plays it across Chester. One touch too strong, falls back to her. Great diving block by Kingshammer. Not out of danger just yet, as Williams will track it down. But this is the third scoring chance for Indy, 6 minutes in.
Great 2 balls that we've sent on frame, obviously. The second one didn't quite make it because the defender slid over. But once again, who was that? Number 12, Williams sending it in first time, bending ball just behind the defenders. And, perhaps next time, I think that Chatterton should get that ball off first touch, and that negates having any defenders come in and being that covered defender to block it like they just did.
Krzula just a little too strong on that one. Chester was the target. I thought Chester might play more of a midfield role. She's going to play a little more up top. It's Dewey that's going to kind of drop back.
Yeah, her speed is something to be reckoned with, and I think it's good for us to have that speed up top to see what we can do.
You had a chance to see Hirschfeld for the first time on Thursday. Again, she is here from Clemson University. She's been really impressive. She has been a stalwart. Her absence today means what for Paul Dolinsky's team?
Not having her on the field because she was the 3 midfielders that they had, for basically the last 6 games, they were a constant. So without her, they're going to have to find somebody else that's there that's going to be part of that workhorse tandem. And I say workhorse, it's going to win every ball. That's going to be there to double down when they have to. And then offensively, get the ball and switch, switch possession quickly. So, we'll see how they adapt, but I think they will because they have a strong midfielder with how willing, stepping into play.
See the Grace Barr is coming up just a bit gimpy there. Again, she too back for a second year and again past her college playing days. She was an assistant coach with the team last year, was Grace, and she's been out there pretty much every match so far this year as well. Krasula. Good pressure being applied by Hayes. Hayes is the lone Kings Hammer player who is not from the Cincy area, but she's got quite a story to tell. She was the Arthur Ashe Scholar Award winner this spring. That's a national award. She is from the Baltimore area, plays at Miami of Ohio. She is a 4.0 GPA at Miami. Williams, one touch, lifts it over the keeper, but just misses up and above the bar. This match presented by our friends at Community Health Network. Exceptional care, simply delivered. And simply put, Williams continues to deliver opportunity after opportunity for the Indy 11.
Yeah, what a great look. She took a quick look over her shoulder. She saw the goalkeeper was coming out. Just tried to give it a quick lift, and it was just a little too high. But that's quality player right there. And you know what? She just keeps having to, be in the right place. Something's going to fall for us.
It took until the 84th, 85th minute for the Indy 11 to score against Kings Hammer when they got together some 3 weeks ago. There were a few crossbars and posts in that display at Xavier University as well. You get a feeling today might be different. Chester plays it across Williams, and that finds the back of the net.
Well, what an excellent display. Chester grabs the ball in the midfield. She turns on the speed. She split two defenders. And who's waiting? Who's waiting and just sniffing out that goal? Here comes right across, and who's there? And the goalkeeper was anticipating that she was going to flick it to the back post. But, hey, get ahead on the ball. Boom, I said she was going to get a goal, and she did.
It fooled Kowalski. It fooled me. When first off, Maddie said I thought she had sprayed it wide. And I'm kind of watching it, and it's, you watch a lot of baseball like I do. That looked like a changeup that fooled somebody, as in, where does this go? I'll use another baseball analogy, a line drive in the box score.
Yes.
Williams
exactly.
hammers it home, 1-0 Indy. Welcome back, Maddie Williams.
And if I was a betting person, which I'm not, but I did say she would be getting one here shortly, and there she had it.
She had a hat trick in the first half of a match last year against Flint City. It may be one of those afternoons as well for her today. And again, simply put, she is a pro caliber player. She's got a great job with her degree at Purdue. She's an engineer, but still has time to play on the side. And, man, the Indy 11 are the benefactor of Maddie making that choice to live and work off of that degree here in Indianapolis.
Well, exactly. Now I'm looking to see how, Kings Hammer, because we were able to, just looking at this, you had Addie Chester checking back in the midfield like she is now. Sam Dewey switching, putting her up top, causing, a little bit of imbalance there for them to figure out, okay, where are we going to pull a player from? And now they've dropped back and they're playing solid 4 defenders in the back for Kings Hammer.
Today's game brought to us in part by Fluid Waste Services, Indiana's premier utility service provider since 1989. He was great at generating opportunities, especially early on Thursday against St. Charles. Putting those away, a different story. Now Chatterton off to the races. It is a Kings Hammer team that struggled in their match on Wednesday against Racing Louisville. Racing led 4-0 at halftime, won at 6-0. Hayes digs in. Great job to pull that back. Coming up just a bit gimp at the end of that was Dewey.
Yep, now they're just recycling, which is great, and looking for that open slot pass. There it is, going across the field to the weak side.
Great ball by Watson just to lift that past Rhodes. The forward applying pressure up top for Kings Hammer. It is the second of the Rhodes sisters we have seen play a game here in the last 3 weeks. That is Sydney that's on the field. Her sister Jordan played for Kingshammer last year, but now plays for the Racing Louisville Academy after she completed 4 years at the University of Kentucky. Ball knocked forward. A little too much for Sexton. Again, Sexton getting a start for a second consecutive match. Good pressure applied by Krasula. Krasula, Dewey. Dewey has a hit. Dewey hits the post. Follow up, Williams just misses. It is a shooting gallery right now for the girls in blue.
Exactly, and that started off with, we had a nice interception in the midfield here, and that got us going. Checking back, making sure first to the ball. Don't want to have any counterattacks after losing the ball. So what do? We step up in the midfield and we win it, and good things happen.
On the restart, Kowalski got 12 matches in goal for Northern Kentucky in the Horizon League this year. Here's Whitsitt. Whitsitt, a team-high 6 goals this season. Rogers cuts it back, and that will be a corner coming here for the Indy 11. Well, frankly, this is the team that we've seen most of the year. This is the team that we saw all of last year. Quickly, the memories of Thursday are starting to fade with how this team has played in the opening 13 minutes.
Yeah, no, you have to sometimes have a memory of a goldfish. You have to forget about those. You have to learn from them, forget about them, move on. And it looks like that they've done that quite well.
Chester, her ball cleared. Bit of an errant delivery that time. Rhodes checking back. Sexton with her step for step. And Sexton a great job to hold her ground and kind of took a palm to the face inadvertently and didn't slow her down on the slightest.
No, and that's a sign of a good defender. She's able to, slow up the attacking player and then get her body in between the man and the ball, and that's how she won it back.
Addie Chester makes the foul. Iris Shue, the player that goes down. And Iris, like so many of her teammates from the Cincinnati area, in fact, she plays at the University of Cincinnati, but she actually briefly played her junior soccer with the Fire, so she's familiar with the area.
Yeah, and probably some of the
Absolutely.
teammates as well.
And there's a lot of connections back and forth here between these two teams, and you have that throughout the W League because you have regionalized play, which obviously you do that from a travel standpoint to balance budgets and things of that nature.
And obviously with, how Kingshammer, they build from the bottom up, and this is their highest level team, so you have quite a few, all of the girls come from their ECNL teams, and they've all done an outstanding job. And what we're building here, with Indy 11 women in the Pro Academy, that's their hopes and dreams, is to follow along suit in the same fashion.
In Sexton from her right back position, tracking it down, but could not keep it in play. But again, the right idea, the speed of thought is there for the Indy 11 this afternoon.
Much better, like you just said, speed of thought, speed of play, which will in turn help us into the attack a lot sooner like it did earlier.
Rhodes fouled. Shue plays it in. Watson, the former Pepperdine Wave, with the read, but then had her pocket picked by Ryan Meddings. Krogan charging forward. Good recovery there by the Indy 11 in the middle of the park. Krogan plays at Northern Kentucky as well.
With 2 attackers in that instance, they were going up against 4 defenders, and we had, proper coverage in terms of, yes, our initial defender got beeped. That was fine because we have people behind her that could, take up the slack there.
3-5-2 the formation today here for Kingshammer. Second and last meeting between these two teams this year. Ball chipped forward. Rogers just couldn't get there in time. Kowalski with the read. For Kingshammer, this is their last away match of the season. Indy has 1 home and 1 road following this one. They will play Lexington for a 3rd time coming up on Thursday. Then they're off for 8 days before the regular season and home finale against the same team that knocked them off on Thursday in St. Charles. And Angela and I are back for that one. Friday, June 30th, 11 Sports, ISCSportsNetwork.com, and ISC social media such as Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Amazon Fire, Roku, etc. As we say, everything but the carrier pigeons, and we are training them as we speak.
We welcome all.
Throw in coming here for King's Hammer at midfield. Today's match was presented in part by Alpha Health and Wellness. They are the official Indy 11 W League team chiropractor. A little more of a subdued Brickyard Battalion today. It is Father's Day after all.
It's a nice crowd, you know. Hopefully some more, you know, fans will show up and, you know, kids will say, hey, Dad, let's go see the game today. And so we might have some late arrivals.
Williams on the cutback. Knocks it forward for Rogers. Again, those two were a pretty potent combination together last year. Rogers, Williams, Katie Soderstrom. And Soderstrom will likely see the last 45 of this one. She got the start on Thursday. Hayes. Good distribution here. Of course, the Indy 11 men were in action in Birmingham last night. Suffered a 2-1 loss. Enzo Martinez, the game winner for the Legion in the 89th minute. Good looking ball here. Barr has to retreat back. Rhodes on the flank. Has a couple options to choose from. Decides to cut it back of her own volition, but couldn't hang on to it. And now, because King's Hammer threw some numbers forward, bit of a look here for Indy.
That was a great recovery by Chatterton. She doubled back down, and, you know, as they cut the ball back into the box there, she was there to help deliver and be there defensively.
Look at Williams. Beats her defender, knocks it forward, give her two. Hat trick time, 18 minutes in. Mighty Matty has come to save the day. The Indy 11 are on their way. 2 goals to the good, 19 minutes into the match.
What a brace already for her. And she saw that. As soon as that ball was sent up top, she took a quick look. She knew that she had not only her man beat, but of course the goalkeeper, because she was out in no man's land. So I'm not quite sure, you know, what Kowalski was thinking there, because if she would have touched the ball, she probably would have hit her, and it would have been a red card, technically, because she wasn't even playing the ball. So what a great finish. Clinical, as they would say.
Again, she is looking for her second first half hat trick in 2 years. She's got 25 minutes to work on it, but a 2-goal advantage for the girls in blue. And as a part-time player, I think she's still one of the best in the league.
Definitely is. When you're a true goal scorer like she is, you know, there's nobody else that can, you know, take her place right now when she's on like she is.
So again, double-digit goals last year for Maddie in the 13 games that the Indy 11 women played. Katie Soderstrom was also north of 10 a season ago. And Maisie Whitsett has the team high in 6, which puts her in the top 10 of the 65 teams that are playing in the W League this season.
Yes, they seem to be having a little issue here with Chester and actually Dewey. They're switching. Chester's checking back into the midfield, opening things up. No one's really following her. And at that time, you know, she's able to check in and perhaps get things started. Unfortunately, we lost the ball there on the far side, so we'll see what they do set up, you know, for a free kick this time. They just sent it kind of deep. Didn't really allow them to have possession because we were able to clear it. So we'll see if they follow in suit or they maintain possession.
Of course, this match is brought to us by Community Health Sports Medicine. Exceptional care, simply delivered. That was Barr that committed the foul for the Indy 11. Hayes holds off Krasula. Hayes, good looking ball here. Watson got to it first. Quick lift by Rogers. And now Maisie Whitsett will try to get off to the races, but that's well done. That's Branham that makes the play for King's Hammer. She plays at Wright State University. Good build here. Branham listed as a defender, which he plays for the Raiders, but playing more of a midfield role in this 3-5-2. Of course, for the outside backs in a 3-5-2. Oftentimes will drop back and maybe make it 5 in the back.
Exactly. I think they've reverted. You know, they're noticing that they're not able to control our forwards. And so, like I said, they've at times committed one more back, especially a lot quicker when they lose possession.
It's an Indy team that, again, they have scored 17 times on the season. But 8 of those came in the first game of the year. So they have not been this level of explosive since the opener against St. Charles. They had 3 the next time out early in the first half against Lexington SC and kind of put it in cruise control from that point on.
Exactly. And, you know, you would hope that the more opportunities you create, the more, you know, chances you'll have to score. Now, last game, even though we outshot, you know, St. Charles FC, I think it was like 27-6. You know, you can't have those odds, obviously, of going 0-for. So it's been nice today, you know, having 2 go in. So we'll see as we progress throughout the half and, of course, the game to build on that, because that's what they need. They need to have a little bit more momentum, and, you know, we'll see what happens.
Chester being a pain, and I mean that nicely. Good job, though, to win that back by King's Hammer. Then Hayes, who has started every match she has played since she came to Oxford, Ohio 3 years ago. Ball sent in. Sexton closest to it. Deft touch to find Rogers, who wears the captain's armband today. Chester, back heel, but nobody's making the supporting run. Nice bit of skill, but nobody there to go pick it up.
Exactly. She would have taken just a, you know, little cheeky there move to try to flick it on, but take a little look and see what you have around her, and look also for your teammates to provide a little bit of, you know, communication and let her know what else to do with the ball.
Great connectivity from the Indy 11 women so far in this match.
Doing a nice job of, you know, controlling that pace of play, which is so very important. You know, checking into these gaps, finding the space, and then coming in and out and looking to get wide.
Even though Chester was kind of flattening off that run and couldn't track that one down, again, everything else on the front foot. And so often when we're broadcasting a match, watching a match, I know not you from a coaching perspective, but say the average soccer person, you kind of think front foot as an attacking, you know, reference. It's all 11 players right now. Everything's about going forward for this group.
Yep, and they're doing a fantastic job. Everyone's stepping in, and they're just being so much more aggressive too, as compared to, you know, the last outing.
And let's face it, there might be a bit of ticked off after losing on Thursday as well. That is contributing to that. Williams didn't want to get that boot too high, couldn't get it around.
No,
Bain, the defender.
She had a good thought though. She could have flicked that. That was going to be 1-on-1 to the keeper.
Barr.
She quickly realized, you know, how many players were right there in the middle of the field. Hey, so let's just take it out of, you know, that area. Let's recycle it.
Dewey saying, here's your outlet valve. Let's note that Watson is playing a slightly different role today. She has been the right back for most matches this year. But she is tucked more inside with Sexton. Now charging diagonally across the pitch. What a ball. Just Chester couldn't get the steps right again. Those two teammates and the same class, in fact, at U of L. So they know each other well.
Yep, she held off her run, and that ball was just, it just needed to curve off just ever slightly and not directly, because actually you just saw that. It picked up speed.
Branham here for King's Hammer. Good looking ball here, back post, and King's Hammer got one back, but
offside.
The offside flag afforded a couple of chances for the Indy 11 on Thursday. Today it's the other direction. Rhodes couldn't time the run. Let's take a look.
Well, as you see, she's already started her run just behind our last defender. And, you know, technically you do want to be goal side, but in that instance, it was thank goodness that she wasn't goal side.
I believe that, again, I think she was offside on the first touch.
Yes.
I think Krogan got a piece of that as well, which then made her even more in an offside position.
Right, it delayed that ball getting there. So of course, but you know, that was good. But defensively, you never want to have numbers even in your own box. So we did get caught there, and we have to look at something, you know, to how do we correct that, you know, going forward. That's a lot of communication, you know, telling players to pick up and drop off. So that'll be something that I'm sure will be addressed.
Ball ricochets off of Ella Rogers. Throw-in coming here. Today's match presented in part by our friends at Fluid Waste Services, Indiana's premier utility service provider since 1989. And Greg Rakestraw, Angela Berry White, thanks for spending part of your Father's Day with us on the ISC Sports Network. Of course, today's game available on the official portal of the W League as well, 11 Sports. Indy, so far, bouncing back in very impressive fashion. 2-0, both goals belong to Maddie Williams. Krogan. Looking for Hayes. Krasula. Again, has been playing on a regular basis, but is in the lineup in Hal Hirschfeld's stead today. Hal was a game day scratch.
Krasula's done an excellent job in stepping into that, you know, that the path that the ball was going to be played into, and she's been able to intercept a couple passes, which were, you know, paramount to us turning the ball, you know, them turning the ball over and us getting back into the flow of the game.
Rogers looking to spring Dewey. Shue with a good read from the back line. Rogers playing a Cam Lindley-like role, in other words, the holding mid that dropped back between the two centers to help alleviate some pressure from the Indy perspective.
Doing a phenomenal job so far.
Whitsitt forces Bain to play it back to Kowalski. Chatterton couldn't get there, and now Krogan's got to look. Has Rhodes to her left. Good read by Barr. Good recovery by Grace.
Excellent read. You know, stripping her attacker with the ball there.
Dewey takes the hip check and just keeps on charging. That is the benefit of having a bit of an older team today. The physicality advantage will belong to the Indy 11 in this match.
Exactly. They're well versed in terms of how to play the ball. You know, play with, like you said, physicality.
And it's a Kings Hammer team that has given Indy fits, even though Indy has won 2 of the 3 previous meetings. Williams timed it out again, got around Kowalski again. There's that, oh my goodness. It should have been 3. Maybe that's the first sign of rust that we've seen from Maddie in the match, but she will continue to put herself in that opportunity. Missed it by an inch or 2, and it was Dewey, not Williams. My apologies.
Dewey, and you know, it was just that little bit of extra spin on the ball. Yes, she should have hit it, you know, but I know she's going to want to have that back, and she's going to work twice as hard to get one.
Well, she knows a thing or two about scoring goals. She had 13 her last year at Xavier as a senior, which was now 4 years ago. She had 83 in one high school season, did Sam, playing at Triton Central. Had over 250 in her 4 years of playing in Shelby County. And now Chester, little hesitation to create some separation. Good looking cut back there, and there's the whistle.
Yeah, there wasn't much advantage because there wasn't anybody that she was going to immediately get the ball to. So it's a great job by the official there in granting that free kick.
Well, you can try something from the training ground here from just outside of the 18. By the way, this match is brought to us by Alpha Health and Wellness, the official Indy 11 W League team chiropractor. Dewey has played in about half the matches so far this year for the Indy 11. And played overseas. These days works with our great Indy 11 partner, Sogility. She is the director of athlete development at Sogility. Thanks to James Carson, Sam Wade, and the rest of the group at Sogility for their support of the Indy 11. Ball sent in, Williams, header, up and over the bar.
Only thing that could have been better about that, if they would have scored, and that would have given her a hat trick. But great ball sent in near post. She makes that run in front of her defender and just a little bit lower. And the keeper, she was in no man's land. She wasn't there to actually make the save. I think it could have been like a repeat of the first goal.
It's an errant clearance that time by Kings Hammer. And they come in with 4 points. They've won 1 match so far in the year. That was early in the season against St. Charles that Kings Hammer got the W. Chester, a little bit strong. Rogers hustling over. I think that was Rogers that touched it last. That's, again, her college teammate in Bain that beat her to the spot. It was a Xavier team that played in the NCAA tournament and won a match in the NCAAs. In fact, Ella Rogers scored in both tournament matches for Xavier this fall.
Yeah, well, we've seen quite a few Xavier players.
Yep.
Because obviously playing in the region, and so many of the girls that are playing in this division. So it's nice to see, you know, so many local and relatively local girls. Good
read by Chester. Williams there to kind of pick her up after a stumble. Rogers, a quick glance at where Sexton's making her run. Elects to play it back to Watson instead. Now Watson trying to find Williams. Kowalski didn't get all of it. Got enough of it. Hayes digs in to Chatterton. Yep. Handballs, right call.
Yes.
Referee didn't see it, AR did. That was the proper whistle.
Exactly. Just ball, you know, hand played the ball inadvertently, but it was still, it played her advantage, therefore they had to make the call. One of the things that's stood out so far this half is the sheer numbers around the ball that we have to create opportunities. You know, the ball's played into the gaps, and you have somebody there. The ball is, you know, all of a sudden it comes into the gap, and it's going to go back out, and we're able to, you know, switch with so much more time and possession that we've been able to provide ourselves.
Shu couldn't keep that in the field of play. By the way, you know, whenever I make a mistake in the broadcast, I want to make sure I correct it. You did a great job of pointing, saying, hey, you got numbers backwards, 21, not 12. I assumed that local media personality Eduardo Blanco would not be watching the broadcast live. He is. Happy Father's Day, Eddie. Thanks for your message, and please give EJ my best as well. Here's Barr. Good read by Branham. Now some numbers here, an opportunity to counter for Kings Hammer. Vigran hustling to it. Barr, that was not a mid-air collision, but almost simultaneously there, which is why the official said play on. Kings Hammer gets the better of it.
Great challenge, and then also it allowed us to get numbers behind the ball, which is first and foremost. When you lose the ball, you got to make sure in that transition that you get numbers behind. Look at that. Once again, we step into that passing lane. Here comes a nice overlapping run. We'll see what happens with hers.
Opportunity here. It's Dewey. Dewey has Williams to her right, plays Chester to her left. Chester checked by Carpenter for Kings Hammer. Chester at the edge of the 18. Rogers wants at her feet. Does Ella have a hit from distance? Yes, she does. But put that in the Vinatieri range.
Yeah, it was a nice build-up. Switched the ball, came over to Chatterton. She wasn't able to go in line, but she still was able to maintain possession and come across the top of the box. Kings Hammer is not shifting fast enough. So with that said, she had an open, you know, open lane to take that shot. She did. Yeah, you keep it on frame, you have a much better opportunity to score. But it was nice just to get a shot off and, you know, and see what could happen off that.
Now Reason will get that, and she will eventually. So Nona on top of it. Again, she's originally from Southern California. Spent her senior year at Noblesville High School. Now plays at North Carolina. Her second year with the team. Here's Watson. Rogers. Rhodes with a look. Can she find some help with a teammate? Rogers digs in. And a throw in coming, knocked it off of Rhodes. Well done by Ella Rogers.
It was great defensive effort, especially when, you know, she's down there 1v1 and we end up getting the throw in, which was great to maintain possession.
That's a tough ball, but ends up working out for the Indy 11.
Dewey did a great job in tracking that and making sure that, you know, she thwarted off those 2 defenders.
And Barr can amble over to get this one. If you're Paul Dolinsky, how are you feeling about your team's performance and with a 2-goal advantage?
Well, I'm quite pleased because, you know, obviously they came out with a mission, and it was to score first, get back to what, you know, their bread and butter of what they had been able to do, you know, prior to last Thursday night's game, which was control everything about the game. Control the midfield, switch the ball, get in the attack, and put away those opportunities. So quite pleased just with the team efforts, and I think he'll probably say the same thing. And, you know, let's just try and maintain that defensive, you know, shape that we have and not concede anything.
And if Indy is able to keep a 0 on the board, be the 6th time in 8 matches that has been the case. Just have allowed 3 goals all year. We stated this in the pregame show, but even though Indy and Racing Louisville are tied, if Indy wins their last 3 matches, they'll win the division. They'll play in the playoffs for a 2nd straight year. Kowalski got to it just in time.
And
Williams was lurking.
She was. It was 1v1, and actually, she, you know, on that service, she brought it out just maybe a yard further. There, nice handball there. She would have brought it out a yard further. Probably would have been a nice another little attempt for a tap in on that near post run.
Today's game presented in part by Sports Tech HQ. Indiana winning is in our DNA. For more information, visit forthewinners.com. Indy owns the tiebreaker with Racing Louisville, having won in Louisville on June 6th. They drew here. There's a bit of an amazing stat considering, you know, the crowd, the atmosphere this team plays in front of here at Graham Park. But they have pulled points from every road match so far this year. That has not been the case on the home matches. The only place they've given up points this year has been here in this building, which was the exact opposite of last year. They pulled all 18 points from home matches, 15 of those in this building and 1 at Carroll Stadium. Kings Hammer starting to find a little more footing now. Branham with the opportunity.
Yeah, it was a nice read by her on the switch. She stepped in, and you know, I will say their gray uniforms seem to just blend in, don't they? So I'm going to say that it was a little bit of an error that on that pass that, you know, we weren't able to connect out here to Sexton. That you know, she just didn't see that defender that was going to be in the path of her. The pass that she was trying to make on the switch.
So Meddings will take the corner, which is very fitting. She set a school record at Thomas More with 17 assists this past year. All sent in, headed, but up and over the bar. Thomas More in Northern Kentucky, an NAIA powerhouse. They are making the jump to NCAA Division II this coming year, are the Fighting Saints.
I think Carpenter got up and got to that ball. I'm sure that, you know, going forward, you have to make sure that you have to get somebody that goes up with her that can actually challenge her. You know, front the defender in that instance, knock her off so that she can't get a solid hit on the ball there.
Maisie Whitsitt wins the foot race. Can she maintain possession? Could not sneak it past. Was kind of going to the turf, so just gave it a hit as she was going down, and Kowalski was up for it.
Yeah, it was a valiant effort. If she could have gotten a little bit more, the goalkeeper had already committed, came out. She had her beat.
Good read by Sexton to draw the foul against Krogan. Our final 5 minutes plus stoppage time of half number 1 brought to us by Masters Heating and Cooling. Masters gets there faster. Find out how at mastersheatcool.com or call 866-844-HEAT. Rhodes for Lauren Lake. First time we mentioned Lauren's name today. She too a player at Thomas More. Right ball here, just wrong person to try to beat with speed. The next time Chatterton loses a foot race will be the first.
It definitely will be. She's back there for a reason. Not only is she a great defender, but speed kills. And even if she gets beat, which is very rare, we never see that, but if she gets beat, she can beat you on that recovery within the first 5 yards, and that's why she's playing at the type of level she is.
What I want to know is how good are they at the University of Tennessee where she can play in all of 8 matches in each of the last 2 seasons? Well, in other words, what sort of talent do they have in Knoxville? Because she's been great the 2 summers she has played here. She was Miss Soccer at Noblesville High School a couple of years ago.
Exactly, and you know, playing at the next level, whether it's Division 1, 2, 3, NAIA, JUCO, everyone's vying for a starting spot and playing time. So obviously she's at a very competitive program. She's gotten better every year. I remember as a high school player, I remember watching her last year, but every year she's gotten better. So, you know, she must have some very talented players around her, let alone, you know, probably some more veteran players that are used to playing in the SEC as well. So she's in a great spot.
Foul against Hayes. And Hayes offers a hand to Krasula. Want to thank our ISC Sports Network crew. Thanks to Alex Laverne, Jordan Shue, Dalton Cox, David Kahn, and Greg Sharton, making sure our signal gets to you on this Sunday afternoon. And there's Chatterton flying up. Good looking ball here.
It's a great ball, Dewey. She stepped in, sends the ball up to Maddie. Unlucky that she couldn't hold on to it. But once again, that goes back to getting numbers around the ball. You had Chatterton, you had Chester, and then who steps in but Dewey to make it a 3-on-2, and that's how we won the ball there in the midfield.
Dewey has Whitson in front of her. Plays it to Rogers instead. Probably looking at a minute or 2, I would say, of added time with those 2 goals here before we get to the half. And 1 goal called back for Kingshammer because of an offside flag. Other than that, though, the chances really have been all belong to the Indy 11.
Oh, that was a perfect touch by Rogers, and what a look to see that pass. And she was sitting there 1v1.
Rogers blocked. And it will be an Indy 11 throw in.
Nice to take a little time off. Here it is, the waning minutes of this half. Try and get something. Another shot, perhaps a corner kick.
Sexton sends it in. Krasula. And time for some build here for the Indy 11. Looking back post. Chester couldn't get to it. Dewey did. Trying to find the right angle of attack. The cut back and just couldn't find a way through.
No, but it was a great job. She knew she wasn't going to get to that ball, and so Dewey checked off her run. You know, she circled back. That's how she was able to get to it. And who was sitting back post if we could have seen?
Opportunity here, but Dewey apparently just drifted back a little early. I thought it was close.
Right, but Dewey did a great job in terms of maintaining possession on that last instance. And, you know, she just didn't quite get it to the back post.
So 1 minute of added time before we get to our 15-minute halftime break. Chatterton.
What a great 1-2 by the both. Oh, there we go.
Chester. Williams steps in front, but couldn't maintain it.
Yep. Some great speed on our left side there with Chester and Chatterton. Say that quickly. And as they were able to create 1-2 going down, and who was there near post as they made that last pass? Maddie.
A couple of Indiana kids there with Chester and Chatterton as well. Delta High School and Noblesville, respectively. Chester, the first Division I soccer player from Delta High School. And that's it. We play the additional 60 seconds. Welcome back, Maddie Williams. made a difference immediately. She's got a first half brace. Indy 11 has a 2-goal lead. We'll take this quick timeout. We'll show her scoring strikes as we go to break. And as you're watching Indy 11 women's soccer here on the ISC Sports Network, as well as 11 Sports.
Real quick, if you are sending video to a college coach, would you want it to look like this? Did he save it? Who knows? Come on. Do you want your potential coach to see that video or this one? Of course, the answer is simple. Give us a call or check out our website, recruitproductions.com, for more information.
I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, but sometimes I get a little stressed because I'm not for sure what's going to happen down the road. I was at the cancer unit, and when I come out from seeing the doctor, I said something about needing some help with all the paperwork. They gave me a name and a phone number. Her name is Molly. She works over at Community. She tells me, stop worrying, let me take care of it. She is my angel.
Stand by me.
For over a century, Indiana has been the destination for sports innovation and the state where champions are crowned. Now, we're entering a new era with Sports Tech HQ, a place that inspires innovation and invests in entrepreneurs who are changing the game, one startup at a time. Welcome to the crossroads of sports and technology. Sports Tech HQ, home of the game changers.
Well, the choice of soundtrack in the background is from Big Hero 6. The big hero for the Indy 11 today is Maddie Williams. She scores twice in the opening 19 minutes. Probably could have been a third, if not more, kind of in that mix for the Indy 11. We have been so spoiled. This is how we have seen the women's team play over the course of their brief 2-year existence. They lost for the first time in a regular season match in 19 tries on Thursday, but it's back to the good for the Indy 11 today. 2-0. Greg Rakestraw, Angela Berry-White. Again, everybody has played well, but oh my goodness, can Maddie Williams play?
She was the difference maker, and whenever she steps on the field, we see results. We see results. So, fortunate to have her not have any work commitments today, obviously, except for the work on the field, and she's destroying them. She has a knack and nose for the goal and knows where to make those runs. She's been successful on the field, and we know why, because we just saw her display that. 2 goals within, 13 minutes?
Right.
I do believe, and could have had, one off the post, one off the crossbar. So, the goalkeeper was quite happy with that. Otherwise, she would have had 3, and then, of course, we did leave one else out there with Sam Dewey's, just mishap on the, we'll just call it the turf took it.
Well, again, I'll explain your background to kind of set up this question. My partner in the Indiana Soccer Hall of Fame played at George Mason, former Marion County Athlete of the Year in her days of playing high school soccer. So you have not only coached at this level, you have competed, frankly, at this level. These are all really good college players. But Maddie, again, scored multiple goals overseas before coming home after the pandemic. What is it other than sheer talent that separates her from these other players on the field?
Well, she's a veteran of the game. She sees things. She's been exposed at so many more games and instances than I would say 95% of the players. So age does play a factor in terms of, how she's able to know, anticipate. We're sitting up here at the broadcast and I'm pointing out, and we've seen many games and been in that instances, but for her, many miles on her is great, especially as a veteran player. And she's, like I said, she's seen it all. She knows to hesitate her run and not arrive too soon. She knows where to be Whereas that's how, she scored that goal, and I'm like, it's, here it is. And you thought it was like perhaps, like 90, percent of everybody else that was watching, that it wasn't a goal. But from, here it was like she held her run. She, perfect timing on the header. And what happens? Yes, it might not have been the redirection that she wanted, but it was on frame. You put things on frame and things will happen. And so she's been there, done that. She knows how to be a pro, and she's showing these younger players what it takes and how to do it.
By the way, if you're watching the match, you're probably not here. Take a flyer on that. You're not here if you're watching our stream today. See that great gear? Need like a late Father's Day present for your dad? Go to shop.indy11.com. You can get that same gear that you see right here at what would be the southeast corner of the Indoor Event Center. We'll take this quick timeout. When we come back, first half highlights, first half stats, thoughts about particular changes we might see in half number 2, and we'll walk you through the remaining schedule for the Indy 11 women. The regular season schedule is not that long. 2 more matches left to play. We'll talk about those when we come back as well. Yes, the Pride of the Midwest is doing well. 2-0, they lead Kings Hammer as you're watching on the ISC Sports Network and 11 Sports.
And the winner of the Indianapolis 500.
Indiana, winning is in our DNA. And we're winning the future with $22 billion in new business investment, building an economy of the future with unprecedented momentum. Indiana, for the winners.
Looking to keep your home comfortable year-round? Look no further than Masters Heating and Cooling. Right now, you can save up to $2,599 on new system installations with 0 down and up to 72 months financing. That's unbeatable value and unbeatable comfort. And if you're just looking to maintain your current home comfort system, we've got you covered with a $69 tune-up from Masters. Don't miss out. Both offers expire April 30th. Contact Masters Heating and Cooling today and experience the ultimate in home comfort.
The main part of my job is definitely listening. People deserve transparency. I don't want the financial part to be something that stops or hinders a patient from having the health care that they need. I try to treat each person like they're my mom or my grandmother, my daughter, my husband. I want them to know that they're not just another phone call for us. And it's very rewarding to know that I can provide peace of mind.
Stand by me. Real quick, if you are sending video to a college coach, would you want it to look like this? Did he save it? Who knows? Come on. Do you want your potential coach to see that video or this one? Of course, the answer is simple. Give us a call or check out our website, recruitproductions.com, for more information.
Let's get straight to highlights from half number 1. And again, we saw chances created in the opening 2 minutes. And Williams nearly had one there 2 minutes in. Then plays this one in for Chester. Great diving effort by Carpenter to get in the way of that one. Williams tried to chip the keeper. Again, you notice the theme. You get the ball to number 12, good things typically happen for the Indy 11.
Right, and if you don't get it to number 12, guess what? It may or may not happen for us. So, yeah, Maddie's just been, she's a pro's pro right there in terms of finding any way and every way to score. A couple mishaps on her first 2 touches, but as we discussed, she was going to get one. And then what a perfect read, takes it down perfectly, and then on her second touch puts it in the back of the net.
So 2 in the first 19 minutes. Again, no scoring from the 19-minute mark on for the girls in blue, but still plenty of good chances. And again, I said Maddie originally. It was Maddie that was looking for the assist on that when it was Sam Dewey. And again, Dewey, as referenced, knows a thing or two about scoring goals. She'd like to have that one back. Great run here by Maisie Whitsitt. And if she's able to kind of keep her feet, I think that's probably 3. In other words, you're seeing chance after chance after chance. One quality look, really 2 for Kings Hammer. One off the corner that they got a good head to, couldn't keep it on frame. Second, they did have a goal called back because what was pretty clearly an offside flag. But possession heavily tilted as we expected in favor of the Indy 11. If you're Paul Dolinsky, you have to make a change to bring Williams out at some point in time, whether that's at halftime or early in terms of half number 2. But anything you do different from a tactic standpoint if you're Paul Dolinsky in half number 2?
Tactically, no. But you do remind them that, yes, we're sitting at 2-0, so let's not let them have a sniff getting back into this game. Let's be conscious defensively on where we are to maintain our shape, and let's make sure that we keep doing what has been, just a positive for us, which is we've had composure within vital moments in the game, let alone in the attacking third. So we keep winning the ball in the midfield. We find those gaps. If it's not on, what do? We're patient, we recycle. But I also think we'll probably address being a little quicker and doing what? Switching the point of attack, because when we do it quickly, they cannot recover. They are slow and shifting, and when they're slow and shifting, that's when we're able to get the ball on the backside, drive it across, or or just get across in general. So I just say, hey, keep status quo, but be mindful defensively. Let's not let them, get a hint of having them, get a sniff on goal there.
Clean up some stats from half number 1. Obviously knew who the 2 goal scorers were. First assist goes to Chester. Second assist goes to Lizzie Sexton. So giving them credit in terms of the balls that set up Maddie Williams. 11 shots in total for the Indy 11. 1 for Kings Hammer. 5 shots on target. 3 saves for Kowalski in half number 1. We'll take this quick timeout. Second half action comes your way next. The Indy 11 enjoying a 2-goal lead. Next 45 comes your way next here on the ISC Sports Network.
Test drive the best ride. Honda, our largest inventory is here. Drive now from $249 a month. Cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. The best value brand with the best resale value from $249. Search a local Honda dealer today.
It's very true that it takes a village to raise a child. And when it comes to my healthcare village at Community Health Network, it's all nestled right in my phone. Accessing healthcare is the ability to be connected with your provider and ask a question when you need it. I feel like when I'm meeting with a community nurse practitioner or doctor, they're tuned in to what is going on with me and the way that they can serve me best.
Stand by me.
From the engine to the transmission, Honda certified it. Drive with confidence, knowing from mile 1 to mile 100,000, you're backed with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Only available at your local Honda dealer.
Well, we thought this might be the case for the Indy 11. Maddie Williams got 2 goals in the first 20 minutes. She got 25 more. That's it. Again, not playing on a full-time basis anymore. You'll take her when you can, so she sits for the last 45. And if Katie Soderstrom's your backup, you're in really good position. And so Katie Soderstrom will come in for the final 45 for the Indy 11. Also, Kana Matsuhisa, we've been very impressed with her. She will play the second 45 instead of Sam Dewey. Looks like a change at the goalkeeper position as well for Kings Hammer, as Jasmine Rayberger will come in, replacing Michaela Kowalski. Ella Rogers and her teammates ready to go for half number 2. The birthday girl, Jenna Chatterton, on your screen as well. Greg Rakestraw, Angela Berry White with you. Happy Father's Day, everybody. There you see Matsuhisa. She and Greta Krizula are teammates at VCU. Greta and Aussie, kind of from Tokyo. It is the international game for this Indy 11 squad.
And as they also say, the beautiful game in which we are witnessing today with being up 2-0 at halftime.
There's Rayberger. Rayberger plays at Flagler, Division II down in St. Augustine, Florida. Her sister plays for Kings Hammer as well, not in the 18 today. Looks like also Meddings is going to exit as well. And Emma Cohen will come in to replace her. So both teams go with 2 substitutions. Cohen plays at the Division III level at the University of Rochester. And she is from the Cincinnati area. And there are just 16 in uniform today for Kings Hammer. So they get off on the front foot early. You see one of the 2 Indy 11 substitutions. And now onside, here's Soderstrom with the ball just a bit off target. Katie had a couple I think she'd like to have back on Thursday. She's got 3 on the season for the Indy 11.
She's such a hard worker. You know she's going to do her best to, notch 1 if not 2. She's feeling it off of Maddie today after, seeing her score a brace.
And Katie will go be an elementary teacher at some point. She is hoping to put that off for a few years and play this sport professionally. She has a big fan of someone I'm a big fan of. That is Jenny Bird, who is the 2nd grade teacher at CFI 84. Jenny taught both of my kids, and in between when she taught my kids, Katie served as her student teacher for a semester.
Oh, small world.
As you know, Indianapolis is the world's biggest small town.
It is.
Shu will send that in there. You see the substitution, Matsuhisa in, and Williams with her 2 goals in 45 minutes done for the day. Tough ball here. Krogan looking for an opportunity. Branham gives it a hit. Rogers got in the way of that.
She was patient in that. She didn't dive in. She got a great deflection, and now she has the ball back. That's what you want on a great defensive midfield play.
And to Kings Hammer's credit, clearly you see the outlet's going to be Soderstrom down the right flank for Indy and how this setup is working. But to Kings Hammer's credit, they are not just content to say, okay, it's not going to be our day. No, they're still attacking, knowing it's only a 2-goal game. For as dominant as Indy has been, it is only a 2-goal lead.
Well, it looks like they've also changed in terms of their formation a little bit, and they're, they've moved to 3 attackers. They are pulling 1 back in slightly to maybe draw one of, occupy 2 of our central defenders, but they are pushing forward.
Another substitution looks like has been made as well, as Riley Arnold is in. So they have brought in 3 subs. Have Kings Hammer, and they dressed 16. So basically, all 5 players are likely to play in today's match. So 3 have coming off the bench already. So Arnold now playing the kind of right back role. Ball is headed to her way right now. This is Shu. And frankly, there were not long spells of possession for Kings Hammer in the first half. We're seeing one right now.
This is their longest possession by far. I mean, we're doing a good job in shifting and not allowing any penetrating passes at this point, so let's hope we keep that up. Playing a little bit more compact, as you can see, and that thwarts, and here comes a diagonal run. Nope, but we're right there.
Hayes able to maintain.
It's a good read by Reason in that instance, where she saw the ball coming in, and she wasn't going to wait for them to try and get to the ball and rely on her defenders. She knows what she can do, and she took control.
Restart coming here for the visitors from Kings Hammer. So the only 2 players that can still enter this match are kind of warming up on the other side here for Kings Hammer. Nobody doing that just yet for the Indy 11. Ball sent in. Looking back post. Reason. Say Hayes didn't miss that by much.
No, she did not. But, it's going to take a lot to beat her in terms of her timing and, just her dominance in the air. So it was good. good by us to make sure that we had somebody on that too. Remember when I said earlier in the broadcast that you know, they had a good target player, and I think they were mindful of that.
We mentioned Hayes' academic accolades. Well, let me tell you about her soccer. First team All-MAC and had 8 assists for the Red Hawks last year. Matsuhisa. Good double that time by Kingshammer. Chester doubles back to help. Just not as sharp right now for the Indy 11. And to some degree, that's to be expected.
Right, and you know that there was, you know, Kingshammer, they were, you know, probably given an earful at halftime on how they should be playing us, and right now they're stepping into our lanes and passing a little bit better. And when they go to double back, they're making sure that that second defender is cutting in front of, you know, in between the man and the ball to win that. And there was an instance there with, you know, with Addie and how she lost the ball because it was a quick double team. Nice quick switch by us and freeing up right here down the sideline. Hopefully we'll get some numbers in the box on this service.
Soderstrom has Bain to beat, plays across. Good hustle by Chester. It's a right idea. Was hustling to get there, just couldn't get there in time.
Exactly. It was a well-played ball just across to the back post, and just a little too much on that. You know, maybe a step sooner she could have taken off. Probably would have been in the back of the net.
Possession again has tilted towards the visitors, but it's not exactly of an overly kind of threatening variety just yet.
No, and as they're maintaining possession there, you know, in their defensive third, it allows us to, you know, get our shape back, take a little rest, you know, and making sure, I know we just came out of halftime, but still we were playing high pressure and we had possession, I would say at least 70% of the first half.
Run by Matsuhisa. We'll go to the end of that one immediately. Points kind of back post. They make that run, but couldn't get past the defender. But recovers quickly. Krasula plays it back to Grace Barr. Barr, good ball. That's from center back to right back. Sexton charging forward. Sexton on the cross. Blocked. I think that was Cohen that got to that. Looking back post. And Whitsitt was offside. Even if she had knocked that one home, would not have mattered. Today's match presented in part by the Renaissance Indianapolis North Hotel. Treat yourself to an elegant stay at the Renaissance, just minutes away from both Grand Park and downtown Carmel.
But even after losing that ball, and you saw how Addie Chester, she knew to go far post. I mean, it was a great instinctual first touch. She sent it far post, and you know, we were unlucky in having the ball, you know, having our man be offside. But you're there, and that's half the battle, is making sure that you're in the right place.
Just heard Paul Dolinsky from the bench, and I don't think it was in anger. It could be, but it's about as loud as I have heard him on the bench. I think there's a little confusion as to kind of who's going where right now for Indy.
Exactly. We just saw some movement here on the field, and yeah, I'm not sure what it was about, but he was quite animated and letting his team know where they needed to be.
Part of this too is that, again, it's a very good crowd that is here. It's not kind of the normal crowd that is here because it's Father's Day. A little easier to hear Paul. It's the one thing that I'll always remember from that game last year is hearing Paul and the players talk about the fact that they couldn't hear themselves during that opener against this same Kingshammer team when we estimated nearly 2,000 were in the building that night.
Excellent support for the girls in blue for sure. On that instance, we're right there. You know, Nona Reason came out. That's her, you know, the 18, the goalkeeper box, that's her area. She needs to control it, and she's doing a great job with that.
Space to operate here.
Nice diagonal coming across.
Whitsitt with Bain in her hip pocket. Couldn't get it around her, but it will be a corner coming for the Indy 11 here in the 55th minute.
It's a great job in making sure that something, you know, in terms of the attack happened on that. Nice quick corner here. Love to see that. Little change of pace.
Chester. Whitsitt. Chester able to track it down and keep it in play. Then swept to the side by Kings Hammer. It was a 1-0 win when these two teams played back a month ago. And Indy will play at Lexington on Thursday night. Back here for the regular season finale. Matsuhisa just went down, and she just entered the match. That's not good. So this is away from the play. You're not seeing it on camera, but she is on her backside, and with Indy in clear possession, she will stop, and that's...
Yeah, she's clearly in pain. It was a, you know, you hope for the best with that, but I think she kind of pivoted, and next thing you know, she was down on the ground.
Yeah. She immediately kind of points that knee, and that's tough. Trainer out immediately to check on her, but looks like an unscheduled substitution going to happen here for the Indy 11. And obviously, for her, you're playing summer soccer to make sure that you are prepared and ready to go for your fall season, which is only a couple of months away at this point. And if you have a knee injury now, that can cost you some time. Let's hope that she is all right. But given the lack of pressure she has put on that, it's not a good sign.
It is not a good sign, but we'll hope for the best for her because she's such a crafty player. The ball's at her feet. She's able to create things because, you know, you can't predict what she's going to do because she's so quick on the ball. So yeah, we'll hope for the best for her for, you know, a return to play, and we'll see, you know, how much more momentum we can get and feed off of, you know, the fact that, yeah, you have a player go down, so immediately whoever comes in for them, and, you know, the player that comes in, you want to maintain that high pressure and hopefully fill that good role.
So Matsuhisa's day is done after just 10 minutes. We mentioned the fact that Kata's from Tokyo. He's getting ready to be a junior at VCU. Was second team All-Atlantic 10 last year. Had 4 goals and 6 assists, and she had played in every match over the last 2 years for the Rams of VCU. So Slimek, who usually plays more of a forward role, right now they drop her in a midfield role. She plays for Chris Johnson at IUPUI, native of Troy, Michigan. Had 3 goals last year for Sam. She was second team All-Horizon League. Pressure at the back. Reason does just enough to avoid Rhodes.
Yeah, that should be something that shouldn't happen, especially in your goalkeeper. So at least we got it out. That was a great job by her and our defenders clearing it.
Rayberger will knock this back to the middle of the park. By the way, this portion of this match brought to us by Fluid Waste Services, Indiana's premier utility service provider since 1989. Well, simply put, Kings Hammer's been the better team so far here in half number 2.
All right, they came out with, you know, they had something to prove. You're down 2-0. You have to bring it in some way, shape, or form, and they've, you know, upped their performance in terms of being a little bit more just pressure on the ball. They've done that, and a little bit more confidence by maintaining possession instead of chasing and playing a little bit more direct. They're trying to build up.
Watson hustles over. Sweeps just to the side. Sexton could not get there in time. Watson thought she played it off the Kings Hammer player. Our referee says no. And Watson, much like Whitsitt, players and Soderson's in the same boat. Done with college eligibility, just finished playing last fall, using this opportunity to try to get themselves, whether it's an NWSL look or it's a Super League look next year. Probably for most of them, it's, okay, can I get a team in Europe to kind of give me a look to play next year?
Exactly, and that's, you know, that's great aspirations for them, the ones that want to play, and just happy to have this avenue for, you know, for these girls to get to that next level.
Robin McCarthy was the player that did that for the Indy 11 last year. McCarthy's sisters both played for Indy last season. Robin had just completed her career at Fresno State. She played overseas this past year. Good job to dig in by Slimek. And it will be a goal kick. Lauren Lake couldn't get around the extended leg of Slimek. Watson will switch sides of the attack. Chatterton launches it forward. Good run by Chester. And those two teammates last summer with the Indy 11. Knocked forward. Steered around. Arnold on the closeout. Arnold just completed her high school days at Springboro on the north side of Cincinnati. She's going to play at Ohio Dominican, the Division II level, in the fall. That's last touch by an Indy player.
Now in the first half, it appeared we had a little bit more freedom going, down the sideline, getting those flank attackers, because they would end up beating their first defender, and then that next defender wasn't there. Well, changes at halftime allowed them to remember, you might have pressure on the ball as a defender, but you have to have closer cover, and the cover is much closer, so we have to learn to, maybe play that ball once we've beaten that first defender a little sooner, knowing that defenders come over, so we might have numbers even, in the attack, especially in the top of the box.
Great read by Sexton. The weighted ball that Soderstrom was able to work her way around Bain. Soderstrom north of both 30 goals and assists in her days at Butler. Chester tried the blast, but just couldn't clear traffic, and frankly, as she looked up, her old college teammate Maisie Whitson was in the same vicinity as well.
Exactly.
Just couldn't get that window.
No. Sam Slimick was, as a 1v1 on that far post, perhaps as that ball kept coming across, instead of going back across where the ball came from, where, you had one defender, you had three defenders right there in front of, Addie trying to make something happen. So, continue to change the point of the attack as the ball's coming across. Maybe we open our mouths a little bit, get that ball sent across.
Substitutions, and Kings Hammer going to kind of empty the barrel in terms of subs with 30 minutes left to go. So their final two subs of the game will come in. Aliana Weibel will enter, and also Maisie Fox will come in as well. So Rhodes is done. Fox will come in to replace her. And again, Weibel comes in, replacing Rose Vigran. So if you made the trip, you got to play today for Kings Hammer. All 16 players in uniform now will get at least 30 minutes in this match. Fox, first touch, that's a tough ask, even for a veteran player like Fox. Fox played at University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. A few years removed from her college days.
Right, and Sam did a good job in coming back. She probably needs to, maybe be a little bit quicker, because, she had her defender there had release, so you have to go with her just in case that ball comes across.
See the substitution. Opportunity here. Again, trying to knock it back. Post Slimick was hanging around. Ball just never got to her. Front post was Whitsitt. Back post was Slimick. All of the attacks have come from the right side in Soderstrom here since she entered in half number 2.
Exactly. Did a great job of the run, splitting the defenders with that pass there. And then that great early service. And we were just right there, just a slight miss on getting that on our near post and far post, being able to put the ball away.
Opportunity here for Fox. Advantage being played. Watson has to hustle back to get in front, and she does, of Branham.
Great job by Watson getting her body there in front of the ball, winning that ball.
Now Hayes. And right now it's Kings Hammer that's dictating tempo to the Indy 11. That was never the case at half number 1. Chatterton will clear to only a few yards. Arnold, now Chatterton gets a better read. Whitsitt.
Yeah, we're getting a little sloppy here. We need to calm the ball down, play to feet.
Chester. Good read by Whitsitt. As Soderstrom to her left. She'll drag it all the way across to create a little more space. Sexton against Slimick. Back in. Just that last touch that's lacking right now for Indy.
Yeah, there when, in the attacking third, you have to make something happen. We did not lose possession, which is a good thing, but there we have it.
Slimick! Sam Slimick gets the goal. Again, it's been Kings Hammer that's had the better of it But the IUPUI Jaguars, Sam Slimick finds the back of the net and a little more breathing room now for Indy. It's 3-0.
Exactly, and King's Hammer has to be saying, how did that just happen? Well, it's quite simple. It was a great early service. She looks up, and look, numbers even in the box. And it was making sure that she was there on that, ready? I wouldn't even call it the near post because she came from the slot.
I believe
made that run.
That was Sexton that sent that in, correct?
Yes.
Her second assist. That was phenomenal service by Sexton.
Right, and she was hanging out not to overexpose herself once the ball, went to the far side. And well played as a defender. You're up in that attacking third. Here we go again.
And now Whitsitt, and then Whitsitt comes up injured and will stop again. And oh my goodness, it's going to be a second injured player for the Indy 11 here in the second half. Again, Whitsitt kind of caught the keeper and Rayberger napping a little bit. And now Maisie Whitsitt is in a bad way for the Indy 11. Already kind of Matsuhisa, and this could be a costly win for the girls in blue if they lose two players of that caliber. And she immediately grabbed that left leg.
Yeah, like I said, you never want to see injuries on the field, and she was just being aggressive. She saw an opportunity there, and hopefully it was just happened to be maybe a little clash, knee on knee, and not anything that
correct. Yeah. You're hoping for an injury of the bone variety, not one of the ligament variety there.
Exactly.
And again, Maisie, it's a bit of a different scenario. Again, she is trying to keep her career going. She's trying to, latch on for a pro opportunity. But again, very gingerly coming off the field, and now this is going to be the second injury-related sub for the Indy 11. Maisie did play the opening half. And looking at the available substitutions for the Indy 11, not sure they really have another kind of attacking sub, to be honest with you. It might be Merrill Howling that will come in from a midfield role at some point. You can kind of bump Slimick up to that top spot if need be. Indy may easily play with a player down here. Let's take another look here, and again, just kind of watch that left leg. And I don't think that was the leg that even had contact. Oh, it's just, yeah. Saw that ankle. Even though she's grabbing her knee, it was the ankle, the kind of that I noticed that buckled.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I always wince when I see players get hurt. It just brings back
far
too memories.
Yeah.
I've had knees, I've had ankles that have been hurt. So, yeah, you just hope, trainers there. We have a great athletic training staff for the team. And, I'm sure that, they'll be on that just to make sure. It just looks like, hopefully we'll be hoping for the best, that it was just a little knock.
So restart coming here, and obviously we're going to have some added time at the back end of this one. And Indy will simply knock this back towards the keeper and give possession back to King's Hammer. By the way, this match is brought to us by Community Health Sports Medicine. Exceptional care simply delivered. Good read by Barr. Diagonal ball for Krogan, and Nona Reason will track that down.
Right, and then you immediately heard them say, Nona, come out, receive the ball that way. There's no need to exert way too much energy from the defensive standpoint. They're all talking, communicating, making sure everybody's on the same page.
Chatterton.
Good patience here, checking in and out of that space in the midfield, just making sure that, we make them chase us in this instance.
With a 3-goal lead, you can be a bit more judicious in terms of when you are attacking here.
Great movement. Sam over to Chatterton there.
And let's not, forget that Indy's playing a player down right now. They have not yet made the injury replacement for Maisie Whitsitt.
Little change of speed there.
You wouldn't know it by how Indy is possessing the ball, but they're playing a player down currently.
Exactly, and look at this. We have 4 players back defensively. And we're still making him chase.
And for Indy, this would be a 6th win in 8 matches. The loss to St. Charles, a draw against Racing Louisville. Next home match, it's in 12 days. Not a good ball that time from Chester.
Basically a square ball as you're attacking. It's an easy pass for the defender to read, and the only thing she has to do is step into that pass.
However, the exact same thing happened going the other direction.
Yes.
Even on a diagonal ball, still an easy read by Watson. I know it's been just 2 matches. You have now seen Watson kind of play an outside back, kind of play a center back. And again, her goal play here, her reason for playing here is I want to play professionally. Just a quick glance at her skill set. What do you think her future is? Is it outside back or center back?
You know, I would say that she could be versatile in doing either one. I like
Sure.
her as a center back starting off, only because you like to see the speed of like a Chatterton on the outside, but she has great skill set in terms of going forward. So, you know, if she's going to play in the middle, it's a perfect fit. But I also say that each team has a different need, and if you already have speed that's there within your system, then she could play on the outside. I never want to say that a player can't play a certain position.
Sure.
Never want to say that because it all depends on the team that they're playing with. But you can just tell her versatility. It's great, and you never want to be pigeonholed into one spot.
All right, so Kugler is in. And technically Kugler is going to come in for Chatterton. And Kevji is going to be the final substitution. And Slinick will kind of drift a little more up top, which is the role she plays at IUPUI. The 2 top forwards for IUPUI last year, both playing for the Indy 11 this year. Maya Lacagnato is the other, although Maya is transferring to play at the University of Kentucky coming up this fall. And again, you know her well from her days at Penn High School.
Yep, we sure do.
Corner coming here for the Indy 11. Maddie Williams, the brace. 45 minutes of action, had it in the first 20 minutes. Slimick with the 3rd goal to largely put this one out of reach. Kings Hammer has had, you know, better chances, better of it in half number 2, but a 3-goal advantage feels relatively safe with 18 minutes to play.
Exactly. You always want to give yourself a little bit more cushion. Great ball.
Gets through, and the defender lifts it. It'll have to be another corner coming. Today's match presented in part by our friends at Fluid Waste Services, Indiana's premier utility service provider since 1989.
Well, no one seemed to step up and take that personal responsibility inside the 6. We literally had 2 people inside the 6, and they had 7. So hopefully somebody gets a. Oh, we're hoping that we could have gotten ahead on that because it was coming in high.
Sexton, she's had a really good game. And now a takedown. Let's see, foul I believe is going to be on Kings Hammer. Thought you might have a foul and then a card going the other direction.
And I'm glad that those arms just didn't happen to connect. You never want to see that. Knowing that, you know, soccer is a physical sport, but there's no need to, you know, it was on both sides.
You're right. I think she was lucky that Brandon was already kind of going to the turf.
Going down. Don't make it easy for the official to want to, you know, give you a card or anything like that.
Watson will send it in. No, she won't.
Shot on goal.
Left foot. Oh, my goodness. Have a hit. Goal number 4 for the Indy 11. How about that for Grace Barr?
Excellent strike. Excellent. The keeper didn't have a chance.
That is world class from that level. And again, Grace, again, she is past her college playing days. She went to camp with Racing Louisville 2 years ago in the NWSL. Was a player, assistant coach last year. She played college soccer at a couple of different stops along the way.
But, yeah, that's a clinical finish. It was a nice bending ball. The keeper didn't have a chance, even though there was, you know, they probably should have had a few more people just standing in front of the wall there. You know, to have some kind of, just something to discourage her from taking a shot at that angle. But you know what, it was a great bending ball, and it dipped and it dipped, and so therefore made it totally, a shot that was unsavable for the keeper.
That's going to be across the touchline, an 11 throw in. Well, all goals are fun when you're putting those in for the home team, but from a quality standpoint, that's the goal of the year that we have seen in terms of home matches here.
Definitely.
Inside of Graham Park. So the full 3 points for the Indy 11 again. As long as they keep winning, frankly, goal differential does not come into play. It is the head-to-head tie with Racing Louisville. And Indy took 4 out of 6 points against their rivals to the south.
I'm sure when they saw us lose that they thought that, perhaps they had a little.
The door was back open,
The door was definitely back open. But, I think all doubts kind of came to a complete halt right now. I'm not trying to get ahead of anything, but you take care of one game at a time. And, like I said, they needed to have a response. Well, I think the response was well met and putting up 4.
Got to go on the road to Lexington on Thursday night. Indy has outscored them 5-0 in 2 matchups, but the road is always difficult. And then again, you come back with a team that just beat you here. It'll play them again to finish the season on June 30th. Tonight's game presented in part by Alpha Health and Wellness, the official Indy 11 W League team chiropractor.
Once again, doing an excellent job maintaining possession, in and out, trying to find something. Unlucky on that cross by Bear, but she saw it. If it would have made it over that initial defender, it was 1v1.
Kugler played at both Milwaukee and the University of Kentucky. Nobody stopping Chester. I thought she might just go for it there for a second. Kugler has a hit. That doesn't get through.
A little bit of indecisiveness there. You had 3 players within probably about 5 to 8 yards. Just needed to have a little bit more movement there by your forwards to create something.
Kolkevchik plays at Purdue. We saw her enter the game as a substitute on Thursday night as well.
A little miscommunication there.
Game of you got it. Here's Fox. Fox spent time playing for Tormenta as well, the Chattanooga Red Wolves. In terms of her post-collegiate soccer career. But both benches have been emptied at this point. Good read.
Nice to have numbers there.
Slimick. Well, Merrill Howling is in the game wearing number 6 for the Indy 11. Right idea on the build by Slimick.
Definitely. And right now, Hammers, they don't have an outlet. Even if they do deflect the ball, we are right there to send it back in, and that's what we just did in that instance.
There's about a 10-minute window where you thought that Miss Slimick went for glory from 25 yards away. There was about a 10-minute window there out of halftime. You're like, hey, this might not be done just yet. Well, ever since the 3rd goal, it has kind of tilted back towards the Indy 11, and now this is etched into the win column, so much so that Drew Thompson is already writing his piece for the Game Beckons blog. He will not have a problem making deadline with today's story at this juncture.
No, he will not. We'll have lots of great highlights to include in that story.
And the 11 men back in action on Saturday night at Hartford. ESPN Plus for that one. Chester looking to cut it back. Does so. Soderstrom did not hit everything on it she wanted to.
She was good. She was good. She came back. She wanted that. And would have been nice to see that dummy. She was actually at that angle for her to get her hips around the ball and get a solid hit. Wasn't probably what she wanted, but somebody should have said leave, and it would have been a classic leave, little dummy ball, and probably could have buried it there.
Your next chance to watch the Indy 11 women at home is the final regular season matchup against St. Charles FC. It is Friday night, June 30th, 7 o'clock. Angela will have it for you in case you can't be here on the ISC Sports Network as well as 11 Sports. After that, we are hoping to televise as many home playoff matches as possible for you as well.
Probably in this last 10 minutes of the game, you'll probably see things slow down just a little bit more, maybe a little bit more possession. Oh, we gave it up in that instance, but we're probably slightly tired, and that's a good thing because it shows that we're working hard.
Each of these two teams are kind of on similar legs. Handball there against Fox, but again, Kings Hammer played Racing on Wednesday. Indy played on Thursday. Indy's had to travel this week, so that all checks out. And both these teams have, probably roster sizes of 30 to 40. But you got several players that have, if not have gone the full 90 over the course of two matches, have seen significant minutes. Obviously, some of that damage is limited by the fact that the AC is working quite well this afternoon here at Grand Park.
It's nice and cool, comfortable, maybe 70 degrees inside.
Kugler. Cohen, and that'll be a foul on Kugler.
Yeah, Kugler initially did a great job in reading that as the defender brought the ball down. She was right there to make sure she couldn't do anything, but she was a little overly aggressive coming in from behind on that.
See Cohen on your screen, this has to be a wonderful chance for her. You have been a mom of a student athlete at the Division III level. She plays at the University of Rochester. In the UAA, that's like the ACC of Division III, a very high level of sports. Throw in coming here for Kings Hammer.
Anytime you get to play at any type of level, you're happy to continue to go on and play, and especially during the summer where this is where you want to get better and be exposed to other players, other systems, things like that. So just happy to see so many opportunities that there are for young girls and women out there these days.
Good battle between Watson and Krogan.
They just took a page out of our book. We weren't able to clear it to one of our defenders or one of our attackers, and they're right there to hammer it right back into us.
Arnold whistled for the foul. And we have another player down, and again, sub's been used at this point, and you might have to go if Watson can't go.
I think she has a little bit of a cramp.
Yeah, and she's gone the distance most every match, and you have that more in the midfield and defenders.
Right, you love to maintain that consistency, especially, I'll say, defenders, you don't like to go in and out with your defenders because there's just something about that cohesiveness. Same thing, central midfielders as well. You need to have that continuity, and they have been great in the back. I mean, only conceding 3 goals. And basically having the same defenders starting for you, that says a lot about who they are as defenders and how they're able to work together. So it's good to see that at least she's walking. Maybe obviously she's going to let herself back on once she checks in with the AAR there.
He'll make her walk about 30 yards farther.
Exactly. Unfortunately,
takes a little more time off the clock that way. Again, because of the injury stoppage, because of the couple of goals, we are looking at probably a handful of minutes at the end of this match. But again, the outcome no longer in doubt. Maybe the final margin might be at this point.
Well, let's hope that margin tips in our favor, at least one more.
And there was a time of this season where you kind of thought goal differential could be a big deal. It's not shaping up to be right now. As again, Indy owns the top tiebreaker with Racing Louisville. These two teams in Louisville were both in the same division last year. That's when it included the teams from Michigan. Now they are largely in their own division with the addition of a new team from Cleveland. But these two squads in Louisville joined by Lexington and St. Charles. And those 5 squads are playing a 10-match round robin. Indy drew Lexington and St. Charles 3 times. And they play Kings Hammer and Racing Louisville twice. He was done with racing Louisville as of 2 weeks ago on June 6th. They played twice in 5 days. Sexton the turn, and then Hayes a little frustration with the foul.
Yeah, nice turn by Sexton, and making sure that on that turn she not only maintained possession, but putting her body, I've said this time and time again, between the defender and the ball. And the only way she's ever going to touch the ball is to go through her, and she drew the foul. There's a lot of space here on the ground, just past the wall. Let's see if they free up a defender to make sure that nobody comes into that space.
Watson. And again, we call that the Vinatieri range. For those of you watching from outside of Indianapolis, this is the main field for the Indianapolis Colts when they train here for training camp, which this year probably going to be, say, July 25th through about August the 17th. Not that I would have inside knowledge on that in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So that's why the uprights are taped here for when the football lines of another sort come down. Clearly you see football lines, as in soccer lines, lacrosse lines, and the Indianapolis Alley Cats of the American United Disc League also use this field. In fact, they played here yesterday.
Lots of things going on up here in Graham Park. We're so fortunate to have this great facility.
Pacers Athletic Center, so a lot of basketball played here. There are literally dozens of youth softball and baseball games taking place as we speak. By the way, tonight's match presented in part by Recruit Productions. If you want to play college soccer, let Recruit Productions tell your story and get you noticed. Visit recruitproductions.com for more information. Thank you to Matt Wright for coming on board as a presenting sponsor of Indy 11 Women's Soccer here on the ISC Sports Network. 4 goals scored by Indy, and second only to their 8-goal barrage they had against St. Charles in the season opener. Sexton around Arnold. And Arnold yet to play college soccer. She'll begin that journey coming up in the fall, but Sexton, again, kind of showing a lesson on the physicality you will see in college soccer.
Exactly. You spoke just before I did in that.
That was a slim move that she used to get around there.
Yeah, welcome to the big leagues.
Yep. Well, it's been impressive from start to finish for the Indy 11. Again, the only drawback is that you had not one but 2 injuries take place in the second half, and both to key pieces.
Right, we just hope that there's just something minor and we'll see him back on the pitch soon. But, once again, we're finding these gaps left and right and freeing up a little bit offsides there, just ever so close. But as our attackers check back into that space, we're able to free, because they're not being followed. They're not being followed, challenged, or anything. Free them up. They can turn, take on in that instance. Just unfortunate that we didn't release the ball a little sooner. Probably could have had maybe a goal or an attempt, coming into the box there.
And there will be a few minutes of stoppage time because of 2 goals and 2 injuries, so we've got a little more soccer to play. But Indy will pick up their 16th win over the course of 2 seasons of playing in the W League in 19, or make it 20 now, regular season matches. 16 wins, 1 loss, 3 draws. Just a bit past Macy Fox.
Just the talent level from our, play today, and just like it's been for most of the season, if not all. We are so calm with the ball on our feet. We're not totally rushed, and we're able to deliver a ball. She, just barely got up under that, but able to deliver a ball where it needs to be sent. Whether it's the front foot when the defender's behind, or if the defender's overcommitted, we play it opposite.
No reason, we'll simply hit that one towards Sheridan to give her team a little time to recycle. And it looks like a foul has been called against King's Hammer, and you need to have to be in a big hurry here to kind of put this one back in play. Soderstrom.
Great quick ball.
Plays it across. Ball lands right back to Katie. Hayes, shoulder to shoulder.
They work hard for that corner. Oh, but nope, they gave him the goal kick.
Clearly, Katie a bit as upset as you can be at 4-0 that she didn't get that corner.
Exactly. She came on, you know, she's doing all she can to, you know, try and get a goal, and you know, I thought she worked hard enough to get it there. The AR thought that way, but the man in the middle with the whistle, he makes the final call.
Today's game presented in part by Alpha Health and Wellness, the official Indy 11 team chiropractor. Thanks to Dr. Sarita Sharp and the good folks at Alpha for their support of what we do with the Indy 11. You would think after 2 matches in 4 days, kind of a day to recuperate tomorrow. Go at it on Tuesday from a training standpoint, light day Wednesday, and play again on Thursday. After that, you got an 8-day window before the last match of the regular season. Rafferty Kugler. Can you do anything with it?
Unlucky that she lost the ball there after, but look at that hustle to get it back. You know, that's somebody who wants, you know, she hasn't had a lot of playing time. So, you know, you do little things like that to say, hey, you know, look what I can do. Yes, I might have, you know, lost the ball, but I'm going to make sure that something happens and do my best to get it back.
Lifted by Slimick. Can Soderstrom get to it? Around Weibel, but Rayberger is there waiting. 2 goals in each half for the Indy 11. 2 goals allowed by each of the 2 different goalkeepers for Kings Hammer. You reference Cougar, and she is part of that group that is playing to try to launch a professional career.
Great ball. One-on-one.
Chester chips it. Bain got in the way. Back to Soderstrom. Chester doing a great job of kind of bypassing her opportunities, trying to set up Soderstrom for a goal.
Exactly. That was a nice little, you know, just beautiful touch there just to try and, you know, sneak it past the defenders. And Katie almost had a nice little, you know, couple juggle to herself to set herself up.
Now Hayes, opportunity here on the quick counter. She's got 2 options to her left. Knocks it forward. Gia does a great job to get in the way and to shepherd that ball across the byline for the Purdue Boilermaker.
Exactly. Barr did a good job on forcing her outside, and then, you know, there's the last defender. Yeah, she forced her out, you know, making sure that as that ball was played that, you know, Hammers weren't going to touch it.
No reason. Just able to kind of knock that ball sideways. I'm not sure Nona's had to really break a sweat in today's game, to be honest with you.
A couple high balls, but those are, let's just say they're easy for her. She's a little tall.
Bain may have a hit here. Didn't get through. Watson only blocked the shot. Hustled. Well done. Even maintained possession.
Exactly. Did not want to give up a corner kick. Did not want to even give up a throw in.
Even in a 4-goal game. Love to see that. Well, I would say that Indy has achieved not just getting the 3 points, but nailing all 3 of your keys. They responded, they limited counters, and they're sitting on a clean sheet 93 minutes in.
Exactly, and you know, as long as the other team doesn't score, great. That's what I always say, great things can happen.
I always tell people, you know, I think my soccer knowledge is pretty good, but even when it was at a more basic level, if they don't score, they can't beat you.
Exactly, and they can't. We're not going overtime, so, you know, even if it were a tie.
A couple of weeks from now, they will.
Yes, we won't even, we won't speak of that until it comes into existence. That's all I'm going to say.
We'll get to that in the month of July and hope that we get to bring you that level of match on ISC. Indy's road playoff game last year was on the road. This year, more playoff teams, bit of a slightly different playoff structure. We'll start checking those boxes in the next 7 to 10 days on that front. Soderstrom.
It's a great look.
Sends it in, looking for Slimick. Slimick had kind of gone route 1. That ball was sitting back post instead.
Well, bringing out your, you know, other attacker. You only had 1 lone attacker, actually, because Chester had stepped, you know, pulled herself out of that attacking role as well as support. So when she sent the ball across, there was only one attacker in the box. And so, maybe if they would have had more, then Slimek would have been in her customary back post role there.
Hayes got fouled. So final chance to throw numbers forward here for King's Hammer. And probably one directed towards goal is all we have time for at this point. Give a chance to get one here at the end. And once that gets sent backwards, that's it, and that's all. Indy was dominant. Got chances early. Maddie Williams, the brace. Goals at the end for Slimek, and the world-class shot from outside of the 18 by Grace Barr. Indy is back on the front foot, and they maintain their top spot in the Valley Division. Final score today, Indy 11-4, Kings Hammer 0. On this Father's Day, Angela, your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Way to get the W. Not that I maybe overheard anything, but I'm just thinking, coaches often think alike in terms of what you want to accomplish. And like I said, the things that I thought that they should address, they did. They responded, getting the 3 points, getting goals, getting them early, and getting that clean sheet. So proud to see our girls in blue back in the win column and back on, yes, they were officially top of the table, but they're now, solid as being at the top of that, Valley Division. So it was great to see them win.
For Indy, they will play at Lexington coming up on Thursday night. The good folks at Kentucky will have a stream of that match that you can watch. We are back for the regular season finale against St. Charles, and if Indy wins on Thursday, that game in 12 days will be for the Valley Division Championship. For Angela Mary White and our entire ISC Sports Network crew, goodbye from Graham Park and happy Father's Day. Indy, a winner in big fashion. 4-0 over King's Hammer. Thanks for joining us on ISC.
For over a century, Indiana has been the destination for sports innovation and the state where champions are crowned. Now, we're entering a new era with Sports Tech HQ, a place that inspires innovation and invests in entrepreneurs who are changing the game, one startup at a time. Welcome to the crossroads of sports and technology. Sports Tech HQ, home of the game changers.
At Masters Heating and Cooling, we dedicate ourselves to serving our community with professional service and groundbreaking home comfort solutions, keeping each and every customer comfortable in their homes all year round, which is why we offer financing options, perks, and coupons to each of our customers. Like our Apples to Apples price match guarantee, we'll meet or beat any heating and cooling system replacement offer. So what are you waiting for? Pick up the phone or visit our website to learn more about Masters Heating and Cooling's money-saving offers and other unique special promotions.
I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, but sometimes I get a little stressed because I'm not for sure what's going to happen down the road. I was at the cancer unit, and when I come out from seeing the doctor, I said something about needing some help with all the paperwork. They gave me a name and a phone number. Her name is Molly. She works over at Community. She tells me, stop worrying, let me take care of it. She is my angel.
Stand by me. And the winner of the Indianapolis 500.
Indiana, winning is in our DNA. And we're winning the future with $22 billion in new business investment, building an economy of the future with unprecedented momentum. Indiana, for the winners.